Hi there, it's Diane. Welcome to my basement. Today we're going to be talking about representation of numbers. So, how can we show the number 5? Well, we can just write the number 5. We could have a die, and when you roll it, you get 5 dots. How about your hand? If I ask you how old you were, and you were 5 years old, you could show with 5 fingers. Well, today we're going to talk about 3 other ways to show numbers. You can use digits in a place value chart. You can use base 10 blocks, or you could even use an abacus. Let's try some practice. If I wanted to represent the numbers on an abacus, and I have the number 272, I have to look at my poles. If you notice, the first pole is your units pole, or your ones. So in this example, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. The next pole is your tens column. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 discs in our tens column, and that equals 40. Then we go to our hundreds pole, and that has 2 discs, so that represents 200. And then you have 1 pole, that's our thousands column, so that's worth 1,000. So here with our abacus, we have 1,246. Okay? So if I wanted to write the number 272, first let's start with our units, or our ones column. How many units are in the number 272? I see 2 units. So you would have 2 beads, or 2 discs. Great. Then I look at my tens pole, and that pole has a 7. So I would put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And finally, our hundreds has the number 2. 1, 2. So let's see if we got that right. We should have no discs in our thousands column, 2 discs in our hundreds column, 7 discs in our tens column, and 2 discs in our units, or our ones column. And we got it right. Good job. All right, so let's try the next one. 611. Do you remember where to start? Yes, the units. So let's start with our units. We have a 1 in our units column. So I'm just going to put 1 disc there. Okay, now where do we go? To our tens? So what number is in our tens column? A 1. So there is also 110. Excellent. Now where do we go? Of course, our hundreds. So how many hundreds do we have? 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 hundreds. Okay, so let's check our answer. We don't need any in that spider column, do we? Okay, let's see if we have 6 hundredths, 1 10, and 1 unit. Yes, we do. Way to go. Oh, the next one's a little bit harder. The first one, we had hundreds, tens, and units. B, we had hundreds, tens, and units. But look at C. C has 4 numbers. It has 1,757. It's the same process. You're going to do exactly the same thing. Where do you start? In our units, or our ones column. Excellent. So how many units do we have? 7. You're right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now where do we go? Yes, the tens column. So how many tens do we have? 5? That's what I see too. So let's do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Hundreds? 7. You got it. Way to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 discs. Okay. Do we leave the 1,000 blank again? No. There's a 1 there. This is the largest number we have so far. 1,757. You think we got it? Let's check. Absolutely. Way to go. So I think you're ready to work on your own for that. What about if we represent a number with our base 10 blocks? Well, let's just refresh our memory. So with the base 10 blocks, you have your units, which are little tiny cubes, okay? If we were to stack these cubes up and you put 10 all together, you get a stick of 10. So you have a cube of 1, a stick of 10, but then if you put 10 sticks together, you get a square of 100. So here we see 2 hundreds, don't we? And we see 4 sticks of 10, and we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. If we put 10 hundreds together, 10 squares of 100, you're going to get an entire cube of thousands. Wow. So 10 units is 1 stick of 10. 10 sticks is 1 square of 100. And 10 squares of 100 is 1,000 cube. That's a lot of information I just told you, I know. So let's just practice and maybe it'll help us remember. Don't worry if you can't remember that all at once. Okay, so let's look at this picture. We know that a cube is 1, a stick is 10, a square is 100, and a cube is 1,000. I always like to start with the units because eventually we might have to regroup. But here we're not going to regroup, so don't even worry about that. So what are we going to start with? Our units. How many little tiny unit cubes do we have? 1, 2, 3. 3 units. Great. How many sticks of 10 do we have? I don't know about you, but I don't see any by themselves. I see them all attached together, but I don't see them by themselves. So I'm going to put a 0. And then how many hundreds do we have? We have 100 square. And how many 1,000 cubes do we have? I see 1 again. So I see the number 1,103. What do you think, guys? Are we going to get this right? Of course. Way to go. Bravo. See, just a little bit of practice and we're on our way. Okay. The next one doesn't have many at all, does it? So where do we start? Just like our abacus, we start with the units. So do we have any units that are all by themselves? No. So we're going to put a 0. The 0 is a placeholder. It's important to have the 0 there. You're going to need it. All right. So that's our units. What about our tens? I see some this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4 sticks of 10. Do we have any squares of 100? Nope, they left it off, so I'm going to put another 0. And finally, a cube of 1,000. Yeah, they put one there for us. So I have 1,040. Is that how you read this number? Or should I say 1040? Does that make sense? Or should I say 140? Well, when you read a number, remember to read it from left to right, and you say the place value. So this is 1,040. Okay? You knew that already. I know. I'm just reminding you. 1040 is 1,040. Okay? Good job. Let's look at C. This is a little different. So before we drew the little beads or the little discs on, now they want us to read the abacus and tell you or tell me what the answer is. So let's see if we can do this. What pole do we start with? What peg are we going to be on? The units, okay? This is where we start. The blue has 1, 2 units. Good job. Now on to the tens column. How many are there? 1. Hundreds, 1, 2, 3. That's what I see. And then finally our thousands column, I see 1. So how do you read this number? 1,312. 1,312. Wow. Great job. You're on your way. Let's look at the next one. Where do we start? I can't hear you. You're right, it's the units. So we have 1, 2, 3. 3 units. Our tens, 1, 2, 3, 4. And our hundreds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't have any thousands, and we don't need it as a placeholder. So we're just going to leave it as 543. 543. And we got it right. Wow, you got them all right. Way to go. Okay, so there is a couple more things that we haven't tried. And let's see. Let's see if we can write all 3. I know you can do this. So we have our base 10 blocks. What is the number represented with the base 10 blocks? They want us to write the same number using the place values. So we start with our units, okay? So 1, 2. 2 units. Tens. 1, 2 sticks of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4 hundred squares and 1,000 cube. So I see 1,422. Did we get that right? Yes, we did. We also have to use our abacus with the exact same number. So we start in our units or our ones column and we do 1, 2. How many tens? 2. 1, 2. How many hundreds? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And how many thousands? 1. 1,422. Let's check our answer. 1,422. Excellent. If you find that I'm going too fast, you can pause at any time and try to do it first before I tell you the answer, okay? Way to go. All right, so let's try some other things. Let's try writing numbers. Let's try getting a little dizzy. Wow. Woo. Okay. Let's try writing our numbers using the place value chart. Here we go. All right. So we have the unit is yellow. It's 1. Remember, the 10 is a stick. The square is 100. And the cube is 1,000. So what if I asked you to show me the number 2,065? However, here's the trick. I only want you to use hundreds. So only use this column, hundreds, this column, tens, and this column, units. Do you need the number again? I can write it for you. The number is, let's see, I'll write it over here, 2,065. But you're not allowed to use thousands. Can we even do that? Can we write the number 2,065 without using thousands? Well, we always start with the units, right? So let's look at the units. There's 5. Then we go to our tens column. How many tens are there? 6. Yep. All right. How many hundreds? Well, there's 0 hundreds, but we're not allowed to say thousands. So we are going to use 20 hundreds. Did you know that? Did you know that 20 hundreds equals 2,000? Because we know that 10 hundreds is 1,000. So 20 hundreds is 2,000. That's pretty cool. All right. So let's change this up a little bit. What if I said, I want you to write the number, we'll keep the same number, 2,065, but this time I want you to use the least amount of blocks. Do you know what that means? The least amount? It means to use the lower number. So if I said I wanted the number 2,000, you wouldn't have 2,000 units cubes. You would have 2 of the 1,000 cubes. Okay? So you want to use the least amount of blocks to make the number 2065. Do you know how you would do that? If not, it's okay, because I'm going to teach you, and then you'll know it for next time, right? So all you have to do is match up each of the columns, right? So how many units? 5. How many tens? 6. How many hundreds? We don't even have any. 0. And then how many cubes of 1,000? 2. So how many blocks did we have to use? We had to use 5 of the units. Can you see this here? So we had, we'll do it this way. 2 plus 0 plus 6 plus 5 equals. So we had 5 of the unit blocks, we had 6 of the 10 sticks, we had 0 of the 100 squares, and we had 2 of the 1,000 cubes. So how many blocks did we need to make our number 2065? 2 plus 0 plus 6 plus 5. It's okay if you want to use your fingers. So if we start with 2, we go 1, 2, and then add 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then add 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 blocks. What I did is I thought 5 plus 5 is 10, but there's an extra one left over with the 6. So 6 plus 5 is 11, and then I added my 2. So 11, 12, 13. You can do it that way as well. Same answer, 13 blocks. Okay, what if I wanted to use the most blocks? So this is the least amount of blocks. What if I wanted to use the most blocks? Do you have a guess? What if I wanted to use the most blocks to make 2065? Are you thinking about it? You could have 2065 little tiny cubes. Wow, that's a lot of cubes. All right. Are you ready for one last example? Of course you are. You're always ready for a challenge. Okay. So we have these blocks here. So we have little cubes, we have 2 sticks, and we have 3 squares. Can you see that okay? What number is represented by those base 10 blocks? So where did you start? Did you start with the hundreds? No, of course you didn't. Did you start with your tens? No. You started with your units, didn't you? Of course you did. So if we were to write this number, we would start with our units. So we have 3 units. Then you went to your tens and you wrote 2 tens. And then finally, you went to your squares, which are your hundreds, right? And you wrote 3. Did I get that right? No, I didn't get that right. Did you see my mistake? What's my mistake? Are there only 3? No, there's 2 groups of 3. So there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's okay to make mistakes. That's how we learn. We learn from our mistakes. 6. So 6 in the units, 2 in the tens, and 3 in the hundreds. Our number is 326. How many blocks were used? Did we use 326 blocks? No. How many blocks did we have to use? We used 3 of the hundreds, 2 of the tens, and 6 of the units. So how many blocks did we use? I know that 3 plus 2 is 5, and 5 plus 6 equals? That's right, 11. We used 11 blocks. And that's how you represent numbers in different ways. I'm proud of you. All right. So, I'll see you next time. Stay curious, guys.